Let's do it. We always look forward to Fridays because we go to film school. Film study professor Joe Fortunato on board with us as we go to film school this morning. 93.5, 1590 WAKR. It's the opening of the Cleveland Browns season. Joe is a huge Browns fan, huge football fan, and I'll let Joe take the show from there. Good morning, Joe.
Well, good morning, Ray. Good morning, everybody. And yes, happy NFL season 2025 as we started last night.
Yep.
And the Browns will start on Sunday. We thought it would be fun to do a football-themed movie, and that's what we're doing today. We are looking back at the 51st anniversary, as it turns out, of The Longest Yard from 1974, released August 30th, 1974, so almost quite literally almost 51 years ago. Directed by Robert Aldrich, written by Tracy Keenan Wynn, story by Albert Ruddy, who was also a producer I'll talk about in a moment. Stars the great Burt Reynolds, Eddie Albert, Ed Lauder, and Michael Conrad. It was nominated for an Oscar for Best Editing. That's the only Oscar nomination it got, but it did get nominated for 4 Golden Globes, and it won for Best Comedy or Musical that year. So a nice little feather in its cap there historically. If you're not familiar with the movie or the Adam Sandler remake a number of years ago, the story is about a sadistic prison warden who asks a former pro quarterback who's an inmate serving time in his prison to put together a team of inmates to take on and get quite pummeled by the guards. That's the premise of the story. Albert Ruddy, the producer, says that he got his inspiration from a friend who was a promising football player. But after a career-ending injury, his life took a downward spiral. He was working in a minimum wage job at a sandwich shop and being mistreated by his snobbish girlfriend. And he had prison waiting in the wings. And Albert Ruddy took the scenario from there. So a down-on-his-luck friend, producer Al Ruddy. If Albert Ruddy's name is familiar to some of you, that might be because he was one of the key producers of The Godfather. Oh. And he contractually, there was some, massaging of history, whether he was fired on Godfather 2 or just didn't want to do it. There's somewhere a little bit in between. He wasn't contractually connected to Godfather 2, so he didn't do Godfather 2, but instead did this movie. So this was the movie he wanted to do. And in fact, he wanted to do this before even The Godfather came up. So kind of an interesting little connection to The Godfather there. Another sort of fun fact that this was shot partially in Georgia, and then Governor Jimmy Carter facilitated the production of this film in Georgia, as states always want to attract filming. Like I said, the cast and crew of The Longest Yard departed from Georgia State Prison, or after they departed, I should say. The inmates played the Georgia State Troopers using the equipment left behind by the film crew. So it's sort of a little life imitates art there. The game quickly got out of hand, with the inmates pummeling the out-of-shape troopers for their alleged arrogance. The game was called at the half, with the inmates ahead 66-0, and that was the end of prison football in Georgia.
Joe Fortunato with us, Film School, The Longest Yard. And you mentioned the warden, Joe, and I know you like to get into casting, but this was an interesting movie because up until then, most of us knew Eddie Albert from the Green Acres and some of his roles in comedies. This one, a dramatic role where he played a bad guy in being the warden.
Yes, definitely. And it's kind of funny because, I watch quite a few old movies, and you see actors like Eddie Albert, or I can't think of another example, but Robert Young, who we see as, Father Knows Best, or Marcus Welby or something. And you see them in these movies in the 30s, 40s, and 50s in quite different roles as young actors. So it's always kind of interesting to see someone that we sort of collectively know as a comedy star, or in this case, a sitcom star, doing something like this. It's not exactly casting because Burt Reynolds was and is the star of this movie, but some kind of interesting things that he was involved with. The prison officials strongly discouraged it, but Reynolds often sat with the prisoners during meal breaks and socialized with them, the real prisoners. There was a photographer on set that offered to take souvenir photographs of the prisoners individually with Burt Reynolds. Well, many of the prisoners had no money, but Reynolds told the photographer to take all the pictures that they wanted and that he would pay for them. So very kind to them. And this was sort of a funny slash like scary story. One of the prisoners, I keep saying producers, one of the prisoners asked Burt Reynolds where he lived. Well, Reynolds told him that he had homes in Florida and California. The prisoner then asked for his actual address. And when Reynolds asked why, the prisoner explained that he was a career criminal about to finally get out of prison. And after a life spent stealing from people who didn't have any money, he wanted to burglarize someone who had money.
Oh, jeez.
So there's a little Burt Reynolds story for you.
The Longest Yard, and of course the original, going back to 1974. And as Joe mentioned, they redid it. I forget, was that in the 90s, Joe, that they redid it?
I can't remember the exact year. I should have had that ready, but I think it's early 2000s.
Yeah, so there you go. The Longest Yard. It might be a good weekend, leading up to the Browns game on Sunday. Might be a good weekend to take that one in. Well, Joe, we're a couple of weeks away from film school on the road to Jilly's.
2 weeks from tomorrow, we are going to be doing Fortunato Film School live at Jilly's Music Room in downtown Akron. We are going to be doing the great original Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve, and I couldn't be more excited for that. Tickets are available now. If you've ever joined us, you definitely want to come down and have a wonderful brunch at Jilly's and see a great movie. If you've never joined us, this is your opportunity to see how it works. And what we do is Ray and I will talk for a few moments, then we will screen the movie together. I will do live commentary. So you're not just watching the movie, you're going to learn a lot of stuff. You're going to see things. You're going to show you some trivia, some production stories, movie mistakes on screen, all kinds of fun stuff. And it's such a wonderful movie. Jilly's has a great place to watch, and they have a terrific brunch. So you can watch a movie and eat a wonderful brunch. You can get tickets going to my website, joefortunato.net, and on the events page, there's a link to the tickets. You can go to Jilly's Music Room website, or you can go to Facebook and look up Fortunato Film School, and the event should pop up. Any one of those places, get your tickets now because they are selling out, and you can choose your seat. So it is assigned seating. So the earlier you get your seats, the better off you are going to be.
Joe, to your point there, my twins, 16-year-old twins, love the new Superman movie. They were enthralled with not only the movie, but a lot of the filming in Cleveland, and of course the guy who played Superman. So they came back and they rented the original Superman movie that we'll be doing with film school. And both my twins turned to me and they said, "This is a much better movie." So I know this is one of your favorite movies, so it should be a lot of fun.
It is.
20th.
And I'll kind of underscore what you just said. A lot of people kind of did after this summer, seeing the new Superman, went out and revisited the old one. Don't let that stop you from joining us, because it's even better if you've seen it recently. It'll be a little fresher in your mind, and you'll be able to learn some of the things that I share with you. So if you've never seen the original Superman, by all means, come out. If you have recently, come out and learn a little bit more. And I will do one more tease. We're all about Superman this week and the next couple of weeks, but I've got a couple of events that are now listed on my events page on joefortunato.net. We're not going to talk about them just yet, but one is free and online for anybody anywhere listening to us. And the other one is going to be a fun family event coming in up in October. And I won't say anything on air just yet, but you can go to joefortunato.net and see what I'm talking about on the events page.
Perfect, my friend. Thank you for making time again. We always appreciate it. We'll do it again next week.
Okay, look forward to it.
All right, there you go. My good friend Joe Fortunato, he takes us to film school each and every Friday morning here on the Ray Horner Morning Show at WAKR.